Okay. So you have added in an amazing sponsoring activity and a great scarf. Thank you. Great. And you're meeting these girls at the coffee shop and you're doing an OP with them. Or they're coming to Java, wherever we meet. Java.
And it's because you sent them amazing text verbiage.
Yes.
And that's why they're there.
So you've done all this stuff to get them there, and then you walk them through the, well, this isn't the newest one, but that was yours.
I don't think any of us have the newest.
It's the brochure. Yeah, I haven't gotten the newest ones yet. But you walk them through the marketing plan, and they're probably going to...
You stole my copy. She asked. She did ask.
So yeah, you walk through the marketing plan with them, and then you want to hear their feedback. You want to hear what their concerns are. So we're going to talk about overcoming objections and closing that one-on-one. I would encourage you, if you have not practiced, no matter how early you are in your business, because you're actually going to have a lot of opportunities when you get started to share about the business. Go ahead and get some of these and start practicing them with your friends and family. I practice with myself in the mirror, and then I practice with my 7-year-old son, and then I practice with my dog, and then I've made some appointments to practice with some close friends over the phone. I found that it was even more challenging for me to do it over the phone instead of face-to-face and not being able to see people's eyes. So I practiced a lot. So once you've got that down, then you need to know how to close a one-on-one. So you can, I'm just going to basically walk through this that says closing a one-on-one. Be confident. Believe that every single one-on-one will end with a new jeweler. Now it may not, but every single person deserves the same opportunity to hear what Premier has to offer. And it is those girls, I was one of those girls that would be the last one that you would think that would be a jeweler, that somebody believed in me enough to share it with me and help me get past myself. Because I was the one that was holding myself back, saying, I could never do this, I could never be a jeweler. I know nothing about fashion, I don't even wear jewelry. So there were people, and some of them are present in this room, who talked me through some of that stuff. So when I first started, I saw this, like overcoming objections. Well, if someone has an objection, why would I help them overcome that? Because that's valid for them. The reality is they're sitting there because there's something about what you shared with them at the party that is going to fulfill a need for them. It may be financial, it may be relational, it may be emotional. You don't know what the need is that Premier can meet for them. But it is your job to help them see themselves in that. Help them get past their own fears, because that's what it is. It's fears of, I can't do this. So your attitude cannot be underrated. You need to know with complete certainty that what you are about to offer them is awesome. And if they are at all interested, then they will jump at the opportunity you're about to explain. Be prepared. Read over the opportunity brochure ahead of time. Keep it simple. If you don't know the answer to a question, tell her you'll find out. When I started sharing about Premier, I was really nervous. But I realized that my upline, my sponsor, Jen, Dana, everybody, is just as available to help me sponsor people as they are to help me with my home shows. So I knew that they were going to hold my hand to help me figure out the home show piece. What it took me 6 months to realize is they're also going to help me figure out how to sponsor people. And the only way you're going to learn that is to open your mouth and start saying something. Because you're not going to know how to overcome objections, how to talk to people about the business if you never do it. It's not one of those things that you learn by osmosis. You actually have to start doing it. Be her guide, walk her through the information, and most importantly, speak from your heart, because there is a reason that you've chosen to do this business. It's meeting needs for you, and that's what you can share with her. She wants to know why you did it and why you think she can do it. So speak encouragement into her and tell her briefly what Premier has done for you. See yourself as a guide and not a salesman. I personally underline that part briefly, what Premier has done for you, because part of a one-on-one is listening to her. What can Premier do for her? So you're asking those good questions. You're simply guiding her through the opportunity, not selling her on it. And I firmly believe that this is what sets Premier apart from everything else. Because with anything else, you're being sold on it. And with Premier, at least the ladies that share it with me, and I hope I do this with the ladies I share it with, I'm just sharing what Premier has to offer and not trying to talk them into it or sell them on it. The opportunity sells itself, and once you believe in Premier, that is absolutely true. Every single thing that Andy and Jonah Horner put into Premier is for our benefit. And as soon as I recognized that, I no longer felt like I was trying to sell someone something. I'm like, I got a good thing. I know I got a good thing. Now I'm just going to share it with you. So just share the facts about Premier along with your personal testimony and how Premier has helped you in your own life. And then it is your job to help bring her to a point of decision. Many of us, myself included, have a difficult time making a decision, and we'll put that off without recognizing that we're doing it. So once you've gone over the information in the brochure, then you need to help her come to a decision. You're not telling her what decision to make. You're just helping her make a decision, recognizing that this is a moment to make a decision. What you do not want to do is close the brochure and say, great, think it over, talk to your husband, and call me when you decide, which I have said that to people, thinking that that's what they want to do. It is a common temptation because you don't want to be pushy and you're afraid of the rejection. So you would like to put it off. That's not what you want to do. You want to help her make this decision. You want to continue in your role as a guide and help her make her choice. I always proceed under the assumption that she's interested, otherwise she wouldn't be there taking the time out of her busy life to hear about the business. And I should have prefaced all this by saying this was written by Julie David, but it is actually true. And I got this from Allison when we talked about doing this. When I started doing it, I read through the handbook because they've got closing a one-on-one. They used to. I don't even know if they still do. Closing a one-on-one and overcoming objections. But this is something that Julie David came up with, and it really is good. So she says something like, and this is what I say too. So if you like what you've heard, then what we should do next is pick a date for your training show. What do you think? You want to go for April to take advantage of the double hostess bonus? So the way I think of it is I know more about this business than they do. So if they are interested, then it is my job to help them figure out the very best way to get started. If she says she isn't ready yet, then Julie says I will ask her to pick a date that we can pencil her in so that I don't give that away, her first choice to not a hostess. And I've actually done this too, because chances are if they don't want to become a jeweler, they will still be your hostess. So you want to go ahead and get that date down. Once you pick a date, then pull out the papers and talk about which package and how she will pay for it. Get the date first. We don't have papers anymore. Now we actually go online, but you can always go to an OP prepared to go ahead and fill out that paperwork. You can read through this. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to skip through some of it because I really wanted to get to the end, to the other side. Just remember to be confident, not feel like you have to sell her on Premier. Guide her decision. And if you see each one-on-one as an opportunity to help the person you're meeting with, you will speak with confidence and care. And if you see a one-on-one as your opportunity to sell her on the business, then you put too much pressure and importance on yourself and what you're saying. Speak from the heart and be an encourager, just like booking a show. And then depending on how it ends, like what her interest level is at the end. Some people have an interest level, but they do have some objections to overcome. So I've included this, but I'm going to let you read through this on your own because I don't want to go over all the time. But what I will say about that, since I'm not going to keep one, is that you have that is what your upline is there for. So if you're brand new at this and you have an OP, it's your very first OP or even second or third, let your sponsor know what you're doing. And most likely she will be there via phone or text to answer any questions you have while you're meeting with that person. It is important to get out there and do this on your own. We do have Java nights so that you can bring people to those. But like I said, you're never going to practice it until you're never going to get comfortable with it until you practice it. So if you rely on when we schedule an OP, then you might run into someone at a party that wants the scarf and they want to get together, but they absolutely aren't available on Tuesday nights. A lot of women have Bible study on Tuesday night for some reason, surprisingly. I thought it was Wednesday night, but now they're all saying they have Bible study on Tuesday night. So if they're not available on a Tuesday night, but they are interested in meeting with you, then you owe it to them to give them the information at a time frame that works for the two of you. It doesn't have to be dependent on Jen's schedule or my schedule or Allison's or Robin's. So there are a couple more objections on the back of that page that you can read through, and then I've included this overcoming common objections. But you guys can all read, so you can read through that. Does anyone have any questions?
I love the baseball one.
The baseball one? Yeah, the baseball one. And then I've run into a lot of women that they don't say their husband travels, but for whatever reason, the husband's not willing to watch the kids or not available. And so that is what I tell them, that I get a babysitter. My husband and I have set nights on my calendar that is for parties, and if he's not available on one of those nights, then I get a babysitter. That is my night to do a party, and I don't rely solely on my husband to take care of my kids. But it's because I'm making income, and if I were doing any other job, I'd be paying for a babysitter. I'd be paying for childcare. So in my mind, it's the same thing. It's not a hobby, it's a business. So if I'm gonna work my business, then I need to be available during business hours, which for me are certain nights of the week, based on what my husband and I have already agreed upon. And really, he's so good about being available. Every once in a while, he's got something that comes up. Any other questions? No? Okay. Jen, did you have